wam zrobię krótko. Ja się dzisiaj nie czekam, czekamy prawie 15.
Nie czekamy 15.
Jak 5 po godzinie przyszli.
O nie.
To on nie.
Byliśmy tutaj 15 po.
Dobrze, dobrze.
To ty masz zegarek i się cieszysz.
Nagrywasz? Skąd?
You think I'm gorgeous.
Nagrywam.
Uważaj, nie trzeba ten czas.
Wiemy, tam nagramy most, będziemy na brzegi, na plaży. Powitamy się z oceanem, jedziemy do domu. Słuchajcie, jest godzina 5.
Until dawn the next morning. So you had to make sure you made the city by dark, because if you didn't, you're going to spend the night sitting outside the swamp. I don't care if you're the governor himself. Those gates open for no one. Now they have, when they tore the walls down, they were going to tear those gates down as well, but a group of ladies had a 3-week tea party saying no way. They sat there at those gates for 3 weeks, refusing to move until the city changed its mind, saving one of our most beloved landmarks. Although St. George Street itself will be open. If you're sitting less than 4 seats, slide on over. I got to make sure I get everybody aboard. This is the last train. I don't want to leave anybody behind. All aboard, please. It'll be open tomorrow. It's open tomorrow, but the Spanish Quarter, which is the Living History Museum, will not be open tomorrow. The St. George Street will be open, the stores and everything. Everything is closed at 5 o'clock. Okay? Fort Marion has flown the Spanish flag, the British flag, the Confederate flag, and the American flag. Never taken a battle defeated, only passed hands to one government the next through a series of peace treaties. Fort began construction year 1672, completed 1695. It was one of the last of 9 forts that settled on this site prior to that. Now if you look over to the lawn of the fort right now, you will see some Spanish soldiers getting ready to fire the cannons. They've been doing that all day. We'll be pulling in there later on, but unless you're parked in this area, well, you can't step off here in traffic anyway. But there's a cannon over there, and they're making preparations to fire it. They do that all weekend long during the weekends. But we will be pulling in the fort one more time tonight. History, touching your knees, your elbows. The streets get narrowed down through here. Hang on to your hats too, folks. Spanish found by making these streets narrow, what it would do is tunnel the sea breezes into the heart of the city, making it much cooler in the summer, and it works. But it works the same way in the wintertime too. We're going to bounce our way across Charlotte Street. This was the street of the merchants, being the closest one to the bayfront. Of course, they actually moved the bayfront over a block to give us a little bit more growing room about 100 years ago. We're coming up for our second stop for St. George Street, which is originally called Royale Street, the Street of the Royals. It was the residential area of San Augustine. The buildings you would find along this street today, many of them are reconstructions or restorations of homes that have been on this site since the 1700s. One man's visit to our city. That gentleman's name was Henry Morrison Flagler. Mr. Flagler arrived in our city in the winter of 1883. He was on the honeymoon with his second wife. He fell in love with our city's old world charm, and so he decided he would retire here. And over the next 30 years of his retirement, he invested over $60 million in the development of Florida, building hotels, churches, homes, hospitals, in communities like ours, Ormond, Melbourne, West Palm Beach, and Miami. He took his railroad from Jacksonville all the way to Key West, Florida, over 170 miles of open Atlantic Ocean. He could afford to do all this because he was John D. Rockefeller's partner in the Standard Oil Company and one of the richest men in the world. Not bad for a man who left home at the age of 9 with 14 cents in his pocket. We're going to swing it around the corner here and take a look at Mr. Flagler's first and most formal hotel. Take a look at his first church he built here in the city. This is the Grace United Methodist Church. He built this church for the Methodist people because he wanted to buy a piece of property in which your original church was standing on to build the Alcazar Hotel. They didn't want to sell him this property out of New York City. It is a Spanish Renaissance-style architecture made of poured concrete with red Italian terracotta clay trim and solid mahogany pews. Now, this church is not normally open to the public, although they do open it sometimes. It's still very active in our city today. In fact, all these churches are still very active. Tomorrow morning, we can't even go by them until 1 o'clock. This next church coming up is he did not build, but he just gave them the land and the money to build it on the conditions they would have it finished within 2 years at the cost of $15,000, and they promised never to put any church bells in the tower of the building. The people of Greenville built the ancient City Baptist Church. Now, they didn't want church bells here in the tower of this building because his church is coming up on the next corner. And come Sunday morning, he did not want those bells. 100 feet above the building, crown it with a 20-foot bronze Romanistic cross. Has solid mahogany pews, hand-laid Italian floors, and a 5,000-pipe organ, which is one of the largest organs of its kind in our country. Inside here, you would find Mr. Flagler, his wife, his first wife, his daughter Jennifer Louise, and her daughter, all buried in the family mausoleum. Now, tomorrow, from 1 till 4, this church will be open to the public. You can actually go in and get 10-minute guided tours, and it is free to visit. I think the most fascinating fact about this church is Mr. Flagler had the entire building completed in less than 1 year of his daughter's death just by hiring 1,000 craftsmen. They worked in shifts of 500 to complete this church in that amount of time. So it's been the anniversary. Built a beautiful piece of Spanish architecture that covered the entire city block. First season it was open, it had 450 guest rooms. Each guest room had a fireplace. That's why you'll see over 50 chimneys atop the building. 3.5 miles worth of hallways. The interior decorator was blue as Tiffany. Only open 3 months out of the year, January through March, you would find such famous names as the Van Buren, the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, and the Astors on the guest register. You really had to have this kind of name because if you were not on the social register in New York City, you couldn't even get a room here. In 1889, whether you stayed a week or a month or the whole season, you paid for all 3 months ahead of time. There was nothing to do here. So he built a hotel with everything to do. It was the Alcazar. Open 6 months out of the year. Rooms here were $2 to $5 a night. There was 300 guest rooms. It had a bowling alley, gymnasium, tennis courts, steam baths, saunas, massage room. The world's largest indoor swimming pool of its time, measured 120 feet long, 50 feet wide, anywhere from 3 to 12 feet deep, and entirely filled with sulfur water. They believed it'd be therapeutically healing to swim in sulfur water in those days. Today it houses our city offices, the Leitner Museum, and an antique mall. Now, the Leitner Museum is 3 stories of turn-of-the-century hobbies and antiques collected by Mr. O.C. Leitner, who was the publisher of Hobbies magazine. And his hobby was collecting other people's hobbies. Here you'll find bows, clothes, musical boxes that they play at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock daily. You will find dolls, hat pins, mustache cups, beer steins, antique doors, antique stained glass windows, and one of the most beautiful crystal collections you'd ever want to lay eyes on. I mean, one whole room of cut crystal that just absolutely knock your socks off. Beautiful. If you began your tour here, this is where you want to end your tour for the day. Anybody wearing red stickers, all aboard. Anybody else? I'm no longer taking guests. I'm sorry. This is my last train through tonight. If you're parked here, this is where you want to end your tour for the night. The art festival, it'll have a big sign on it saying
Dwie wieże złapać, jak najdalej za
Okay? All right.
Nie tak.
Zaczekać na fontannę.
Yes, you would have to get a ticket booth, but they quit running after 4 o'clock. We sell no more tickets. We're just getting people back to where they belong for the day. Okay, so if you want to take a tour, we'll be here. I'm sure the church will be open for this evening, so those folks who wish to attend services, they can.
Drzewo.
That's the plan. Okay. Maybe you think you can do it? Let him take one. I'm gonna let him take one.
Drzewo środku. Sorry.
Come on, Haley.
To jest spał. Tutaj już łazienka była z tyłu. Your bottom is pinky. Co? Okay. Hey. Hey.
Don't look at my window.
Po polsku.
Nie patrz na moje osielko.
Hej! O, co ty teraz zrobiłaś? Hej! Mama śpi? Ja. Hej! Bumpy. Hej, ja. Miała zaśpiewać piosenkę?
Nie umiem.
Wymyśl jakąś. Rób minki. Zrób surface. Teraz zrób szczęśliwą minkę. Szczęśliwą. A teraz wystraszoną. A teraz uśmiechnij się i powiedz cheese. Co, Mia, powiedz coś. Jakie to jest miasto? Wiem, tylko żartuję.
Indianka.
Wow, jak to jest bumpy.
Bombi. Uwaga.
To zaraz będzie miasto.
Hej, nie blisko czy nie?
Co powiedziałaś?
Blisko jesteś tam.
Już nic nie widać, co?
śpisz, kurwa. Oczy zamknięte śpisz. Jak śpisz, to są oczy zamknięte. Śpi. 3, 2, 1. Śpisz. Okej. 3. Chrap to, żeby to ci wiesz, żeby tak. 3, 2, 1. Tak. Możesz pić.
Do you hate waking up in the morning feeling sleepy and tired for the rest of the day? Or are you just not an early person? Well, we have a solution. We made a new and healthy drink that will boost your energy and wake you up in the morning. You won't be feeling tired and exhausted anymore. It is called Awake, and if you drink it at night, then early in the morning you will be wide awake and not exhausted. You can also drink this during the day to feel more awake, or just have something healthy to drink. Oh, and did I mention the vitamins it has? Well, it has all the vitamins. Yes, it also has calcium, magnesium, and other important factors you need to keep your day going. This drink does not have caffeine like other power drinks. It has everything healthy and organic. You can always substitute it for coffee. It is for children and adults with real fruits. Hope you enjoy it. I do. Drink awake, be awake. Don't be so tired, just break away. Wrong. Don't be so tired, just drink awake. Don't be so tired, just drink